Hello everyone, Salpickle Central here. Welcome back to another video. And today, since the midterms are already less than 500 days away, I'm just gonna go ahead and just give you my an update prediction for all the races. So let's get started here. So obviously, I'm gonna go Senate, House, Senate, Governor, House. As you see on my screen, we got the Senate already up. So I'm not going to waste any more of you guys' time. Let's get right into it. So, first off, saves for the Democrats: Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware. Saves for the Republicans. Oh, and Virginia. Saves for the Republicans: Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Florida. Like in Alaska. Likelies for the Democrats: New Hampshire, Minnesota. Likelies for Republicans: Nebraska, Ohio, and Texas. And that's already the majority. Alright, leans for the Democrats. North Michigan. I don't know why I was trying to say North Carolina. And Georgia. Leans for Republicans. Iowa. Tilts for the Democrats. I got North Carolina and Maine. Alright, so quickly now I'm going to give you my reasoning to why I have these as my ratings. Alright, so, and for my likely Democratic states, so Minnesota and New Hampshire. They're just left-leaning states. Trump won them both. Not Trump. Kamala won them both by mid-single digits. And then midterm year that is gonna lean towards Democrats. Then it's gonna be a Democratic win for both of them. For likely Republicans, which is Texas, Nebraska, and Ohio. In Texas, I'm going to see what happens with the primary. It's going to be likely until further notice. It's my reason. So I'm going to, if Cornyn wins Texas, I'm going to put it as safe Republican. If Paxton wins, it's going to be at most lean Republican. For either side is going to be at most lean. And then in Nebraska, we have Dan Osborne running. He gave Deb Fisher a little bit of a scare. So, yeah. I'm giving him a likely as of right now. We'll see what happens. We'll see how Pete Ricketts deals with it in the next year and a half. And see if his polling is better at this point. At the point where it goes back to safe. Alright. For my leans, Michigan and Georgia. In Michigan, again, back and forth state. And the incumbent party holding that seat is the Democrats. So I do think the incumbent party there will have the advantage. Republicans don't have already Michael Rogers again, who already lost to Lessa Slotkin. The Democrats have a big backbench there in Michigan. So I think it's lean D for right now. For Georgia, John Ossoff has gotten very lucky. Brian Kemp has declined to run again. It's Ossoff. So right now it's lean D because Ossoff is pretty much leaning against by high in the polling by high single digits right now against the two most prominent Republicans in the race, Brian, not Brian Jack. It's Austin Scott and Mike Collins, if I got that correct. He's performing against both pretty well, so lean D. For my tilt, for my lean R, I only have Iowa. Joni Ernst has really got herself into hot water. And if she were, I mean, Iowa's a kind of, I don't know what to do with Iowa. Right now I have it as lean Republican, but I just don't know. Democrats got a pretty strong recruit in both Iowa races. I just don't think. I'm hesitant to put it any higher than lean Republican right now. I'm not going to give it to the Democrats, obviously, but I'm hesitant to put it into likely right now. No, knowing that situation that Ernst is in, how she dug herself big hole with saying shit like "we're all going to die." Like that's not. I don't know where to put Iowa. It's a very interesting thing here. And then finally, my tilts. Both are for Democrats. Both are pickups. Maine and North Carolina. It's starting to look like Democrats will hit their top recruits in both states. Both incumbent Governor Janet Mills in Maine and former Governor Roy Cooper in North Carolina. Republicans in North Carolina didn't get Laura Trump. They're going with Michael Wheatley, the RNC chair. Still, Roy Cooper should be a favorite. I'm just starting it off as tilt D until we get actual polling from there that isn't involving Laura Trump. And then in Maine, the polling there, so Susan Collins is deep underwater in approval, and that Jana Mills is above water in approval. In like the only head-to-head matchup between Mills and Collins, Mills has a pretty decent lead. So I'm putting it as tilt Democratic right now, but things can change, and I'll do another big roundup of these races again in November or December. All right, now let's move on to the governor's race. All right, same thing. I'm gonna start at safe and then go all the way down to tilts. All right, safe for Democrats: Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Illinois, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. States for Republicans: South Dakota, Nebraska, not Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, Wyoming, Idaho, and Alaska. Vermont. Safety is Pennsylvania. Alright. Lean Republican. Well, not lean. Likely Republican. Kansas. Ohio. Oh, I forgot Florida to put into safe. And then New Hampshire. Likely for Democrats. New York. And Maine. Leans for Republicans. Iowa. Georgia. Nevada. Leans for Democrats. Wisconsin. Michigan. And then tilts for Democrats. Arizona. Alright, so time to give my explanation for these. I'm going to start off with my likelies. So for Kansas, Ohio, and Nebraska. For Kansas, obviously Democrats hold the governorship. I expect them to be somewhat competitive, but Republicans is a Republican state. Republicans will win back the governorship there. And Ohio, it looks like Vivek will be the nominee, and he's a pretty weak candidate. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think he's a weak candidate, but Ohio still pretty red, likely Republican at this time. And then New Hampshire, Kelly Ayotte is a very popular, is above Waller. She won by 9 points in a state Trump lost by 5. Yeah. And then for the likely for the Democrats in New York and Maine, um, yeah, Hochul is still she's in better positions than she was in 22. That's for sure. I'm just not. I don't feel like I should put her in safe Democratic yet. In Maine, I feel like Janet Mills is leaving in a great position for the Democrats. They have a very deep bench there in Maine, so I would not think it would flip. And then for the leans, for the Republicans, I have Iowa, Nevada, and Georgia. In Georgia, obviously, Brian Kemp very popular there. Republicans obviously are going to start out as the favorites there in the Georgia governor's race. Democrats, I don't know who they're going to run since the strongest Democratic candidates in Georgia are both in the United States Senate. Um, so yeah, Republicans obviously going to start out as the favorites. I don't know how good of quality most of the candidates running in Georgia are. We'll see what happens. In Iowa, we got the only Democratic elected official in Iowa, Rob Sand, is running for governor. So I think he'll do pretty well, but again, he's not probably won't win that. And then Nevada, Joe Lombardo, pretty popular governor of Nevada. He will obviously start out as the favorite. I can't rule out Democrats potentially winning it because Nevada's a swing state and it's going to be the 6-year midterm of Trump, which always goes bad for the incumbent party in the White House. All right, now let's go to my lean Democratic states, which is Michigan and Wisconsin. In Michigan, the only reason why I have it as lean Democrat is because the mayor of Detroit is running a third party campaign, which could take away votes from the Democratic Party. And Republicans got their strongest candidate in John James. He's been pretty solid electorally for Michigan in the last few years. He's off. So if it's enough votes split between Duggan and the Democratic nominee, John James could definitely win that race. And then in Wisconsin, Tony Evers is declining. Democrats have a deep bench, but it's Wisconsin. Democrats have a deep bench there. But again, it's Wisconsin. Who the hell knows? And then my tilt state is Arizona. So Katie Hobbs, she is slight favorite against two against the frontrunner for Republican is Andy Biggs, a very controversial member of the House. She does seem to be the favorite against Biggs, but I just want to see what the outcome of that primary is before I go further in either direction. All right, that's my governor's predictions. All right, before I go to the House, some of you guys are going to yell at me about Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro has approvals in the 60s, and the guy who he beat by 16 points is running against them again in a better year for the Democrats. It's going to end not so well again for the Republicans there. Josh Shapiro is going to win that race unless something catastrophic happens for Shapiro. He's going to win that race pretty comfortably. All right, let's now go over to the House of Representatives. So, as you can see, I have already one race filled out as likely. That is Tennessee's 7th. That is the seat that Mark Green, the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, vacated when he resigned. That's my rating for the special election. Obviously, the general is going to be safe. The special I have as likely because of the Nashville area going to be that is takes up a ton of the population there. That's my rating for the special. But for the midterms next year is obviously safe. So let's get into this prediction. So we're going to start from east to west like we always do. Let's start with Maine. Maine 02. Tilt Democrat. Again, I don't think LePage has any more credit. Like, he lost in 22 by a bunch. So I just don't think he could run a very strong campaign again this year. Golden is a very strong incumbent. Again, if Golden decides to run for Senate or House or Governor, Senate or Governor, then it's obviously going to go into lean Republican. But right now, Golden is running for re-election, so it's still Democrat at this point. Both New Hampshire seats are likely. Again, they're going to be somewhat competitive because it's New Hampshire. New Hampshire is always competitive. So, yeah. All right, over in New York, let's start with the first. That is likely Republican. Again, Long Island has shifted to the left, kinda, but then shifted back to after Trump won in November. I see it as likely, but in a wave year, it could flip. All right, the Long Island, the Swazi and Gillian seats, both are likely Democrat at this point. Both are strong, moderate Democrats in Long Island, the most western points of Long Island. I think they'll win in a very good year for Democrats on the generic ballot wise. Redistricting might be the reason why it's going to be a close majority, but we'll get into that discussion later. All right, Mike Law seat. I've been going back and forth throughout the months over this seat, but since he's running for re-election, he immediately gets this seat out to a lean Republican start. He's a strong, somehow he's very strong Republican. He is favored, but again, in the shift of the winds, it could be doomed for him. So, yeah. And then Josh Riley's seat is obviously going to be lean Democrat. Again, he won pretty small margin last year. He will probably have a better re-election bid this time, but it's going to be close. Again, this year probably. Next year probably. All right, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, the 9th district. Trump won this district, but it's likely Democrat. Yeah, it's likely Democrat right now because Nelly Poo won by 10 in the district. Trump won very narrowly. So, yeah. And then Tom Kaine's seat. Still Republican. That district has shifted to the right over the last few years. It's going to take a pretty decent environment for Democrats for it to flip. But I do see it potentially happening. All right. Over in Pennsylvania, the 7th I have it as tilt Democrat. The 8th I have it as tilt Republican. The reason for those two ratings is because the 7th is more Democratic leaning than the 8th. Kamala actually almost won the 7th, while Trump did pretty well in the 8th. But it's going to be determining on both could flip. It just depends on the year. In Pennsylvania won, likely Republican. It's going to take a retirement there to have. If Brian Fitzpatrick retires, it's going to go from likely Republican to lean Democrat because Harris won that district. But if Fitzpatrick wins or wins a primary or runs for re-election, it doesn't retire and wins a primary, it's going to be likely Republican. But if he loses the primary or retires, lean Democrat. All right, Pennsylvania 10. I have his lean Democrat. It's going to be a rematch of 2 years ago of 2024, most likely. And Scott Perry almost fumbled the bag in 3 years in a row. He's probably going to lose this year, next year. All right, let's go down to these seats right here. First off, I'm going to go over the Virginia seats. Likely Democrat in the 7th. And I'm going to go tilt Democrat in Virginia Beach, the 2nd district. In North Carolina's 1st, lean Democrat. Over here in Kentucky 6th, I have his likely Republican. In Ohio, likely Democrat in the 1st, lean Republican in the 13th, and likely in the 9th. Ohio is going to redistrict. It seems like Sykes district is going to get more Republican, and it looks like Captors is going to get basically safe for Republicans. I don't think she would even Captor would win potentially her new district. So yeah. All right, down in over in Indiana, that's a likely Democratic seat. All right, Michigan. All right, Michigan. Likely Democrat in the 8th. In the 7th is going to be Tilt Democrat, and then in the 10th is going to be Tilt Democrat. All very much neck and neck districts. Democrats should win all three if things go. Democrats have advantage in the 7th. The 8th by already holding that seat. The 7th and the 10th. The year should get them both seats, depending on the year. Again, those are ticket type seats. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna do the Tennessee 5th. That's also likely Republican. All right, over here in the upper Midwest, Illinois 17th, likely Democrat. Lean Democrat in the 3rd of Wisconsin. Likely Republican in the 1st of Wisconsin. In the 2nd of Minnesota, likely Democrat. That's a hold, by the way. So Iowa, likely Republican here in the 2nd. And then in the 1st, this is Marinette Mellon Rakes, likely Democrat. It's not looking good for her. Democrats got a strong bench in that race. Same with the Zagnon race. I think he barely loses, depending on the environment. Obviously, Don Bacon's seat, that's probably an auto flip. Harris won that seat by 9. I gotta say 9 points, I think. So, yeah, basically an auto flip, probably. Alright, down to Florida and Texas. The 23rd, Moskowitz in Florida, likely Democrat. Likely Republican for the rest, because, yeah. In a wave year, those two could flip, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. Over here in Texas, I want to be generous here to the Democrats and still give them the ratings I already gave the Texas seats before, because I don't think it's going to be dependent on if they actually get redistricting done this special session. And if they do get it done, then obviously all the Texas seats will become safe. Those free Texas seats will become safe Republican, and we'll see where the other lines are drawn. All right, New Mexico 2nd, likely Democrat. All right, in Colorado 8, I have it as lean Democrat. Gabe Evans barely won. I think it was like less than a point. And in the even a blue wrinkle could see him go. So yeah. All right. Over in the Bobert seat, and over here, Jeff Hurd, also likely. All right, Arizona, likely Republican in Eli Crane's district. Till Democrat here in Slikert, lead Democrat in the Sycamore seat. Those two are close districts. I think both of them are going to go Democrat, but it's going to depend by how much and what the wave is going to, a potential blue wave, Whipple, whatever happens there. The Utah seat, pretty much auto flip already, likely Democrat right now, because there's a chance that still doesn't get that Democrat district. So, in this Nevada seat, I got as likely Democrat. Up here in the Montana seat, lean Republican. Not lean, likely Republican. My bad. These two seats right here, the 3rd of Washington, lean Democrat, and lean Democrat in Oregon 5. Alright, Alaska, likely Republican. It seems like Peltola will not go for a rematch. And yeah, likely Republican. Alright, California, the big beast. Alright, the 3rd, likely Republican. Alright, let's start here in the Central Valley. Likely Democrat, lean Democrat, likely Democrat there, like lean Republican there in the 22nd. Now into LA County, the Whiteside seat that has a likely Democrat. Lean Democrat here. In the coastal seats, tilt Democrat here in the trans seat. I think the 41st also flips by tilt. And I think it's a lean Republican here for Young Kim's seat. And also, California also is considering redistricting, but that's the ratings I would give the old map, the current map. Alright. So my new prediction for the House, 227 Democrats, 208 Republicans. Again, depending on what the heck happens with Texas, Ohio, like this could change a lot due to what happens with that whole redistricting gerrymander war that's going on. There's a chance that only Ohio does it. There's a chance that the House is determining out who gerrymanders the best. Like, and could be no competitive seats. So whatever happens, happens. So 227 right now. I'm just imagining and it doesn't happen. 227 Democrats, 208 Republicans. That's a good hunk majority there for the Democrats. Thank you guys so much for watching these my update predictions for all the midterm races. And if you guys made it through all that video, please subscribe down below and leave me a like. It'll be completely appreciated. And I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.